Our European adventure for this season came to a close last night with a bit of a whimper, to be honest, over in Prague, losing against Sparta by 3-0. Those are your headlines that were making the stories this morning from all the local newspapers. 0 to Prague about, blank check. Just two of a number of headlines that were written about the Dons last night. It meant that we finished 35 out of 36 teams. It meant no games won, and it meant no goals scored away from home. So, if you follow me on socials, you would have seen that I've posed you a question. In the grand scheme of things, did last night really matter? So, I'm going to have my say a little bit later on some issues that I have. But let me give you my tuppence first of all, because I thought last night's game did matter. And here's why. I appreciate it's a dead rubber. I get that. I get there's absolutely nothing to play for. Some people may suggest it was just a friendly. But this is what I think. First and foremost, nearly 3,000 Aberdeen fans travelled, paying up to nearly £1,000 each to get there. They deserved better. They deserved a better performance. We are building steadily some momentum in the league, be it with good performance and indifferent performances or bad performances. We are building momentum. And we've got a big game on Sunday against a team who are in complete disarray. And what an opportunity we have got to absolutely stick a cat amongst the pigeons on Sunday afternoon. So what I wanted last night was I wanted a solid and positive performance. Be it we come away with a draw, or be it we came away with a narrow defeat. What I wanted was a solid, aggressive performance. What we got last night was a whimper. And I'm extremely disappointed, because what I think it does, it puts us in the wrong frame of mind for Sunday. Because what's really interesting, if you read socials, is that people are now saying, what an opportunity we've got to beat Celtic at Celtic Park. But it would just be us to go out and lose the game 5-0. That's the mentality. That's what people are thinking. And I have to be honest, I totally get that way of thinking. But I really wish we didn't have that. It's frustrating. So what I'm going to do is I'll go through all the housekeeping. I'm going to let you listen to a couple of minutes of what Jimmy had to say after the game last night. Then I'm going to have my say on something. And then I'm going to get you guys on. So let's go through the housekeeping first of all. So the manager made 4 changes to the side last night. So Dylan Loban came in for Alexander Jensen. Alfie Dorrington came in for Nicky Devlin. Leighton Clarkson came in for Topi Keskinen. And the skipper came in for Stuart Armstrong. Here are the match stats. So they enjoyed 61.2% of possession. I have to admit, I thought it was more. They had in total 13 shots to our 3. But there's the big difference. Look, not a single shot on target registered in the 90 minutes. I'm sorry, but it's just not good enough. I don't care that it's in Europe and that it's away from home. Once again, we're not laying a glove on our opponents away from home. Touches inside the box. It's, really? And the pass accuracy, okay, was not too bad, 74.9%. But look, if you compare it to Sparta's, it's way up there. It's way better. Let's bring on the manager, and I'll see you on the other side.
Well, I think first of all I will thank to all the fans who travel with us across Europe this European campaign, and have been amazing in all the games. Of course, and the game today we wanted to give them a little bit more, but I think the first 15 minutes before they scored the first goal, I think we were okay and were into the game. After the goal, I think we instead of taking one step forward and keep doing what we need to do, we become a little bit passive and play way too low and give them more space to play, and then we make it difficult for ourselves, and they grow into the game and use that time on the ball that they get in the first half. I think it was a little bit better in the second half, still not good enough. We don't get that shot, or even in the first half I think we have 3 or 4 good interceptions, but the transition don't lead to anything. Of course they also defend well in this moment, but we need to be a bit sharper. And so I think it's a disappointing result, but it's also overall we have now played 6 games and against six opponents, but 5 of them end up top 8. So if we use this right, we are not in that level right now, but we also know what we need to do in the future to grow as a club and grow as a team, to become more competitive for the next challenge.
Some of the goals that were lost tonight and also across the campaign, they can be...
This is from different areas, and the only way to get, but the best way is to be there on the pitch and use this in the right way for the future, because I'm 100% convinced that the players will be better in the future. They're gonna grow from this experience, and when they are in certain areas in the future, they're gonna do it in a different way. And of course, we need to be a support and guide them. But it's one thing when the games go quicker, and also the opponents are really skillful, and one mistake, they will hurt you.
Okay, so that's the thoughts of the manager. Now, before I bring on you guys and have my say, let me just gently remind you that Alibeg ABTV is brought to you and supported by Saltire Energy, the global market leader in specialist drilling equipment rental. Not just that, they offer a number of services including torquing, testing, refurbishment and welding. So if any of those services fancy you and your company, get in touch with them or come to me and I'll put you in touch with the fine folk at Saltire. Okay, so I'm going to have my say about this. And I mean this with the greatest respect, okay? It's not a pile-on. I'm getting a little bit tired of we have to learn and we have to grow from the manager. After our first game against Shakhtar, which we lost 3-2, he said, and I quote, "We have to learn." So you would think lessons needed to be learned going from game 1 into game 2. Game 2, what do? We get absolutely dicked in Greece. That shows me that nothing was learnt from game 1. Yimi said after that game, and I quote, "We have to learn from the game." So we then go from game 2 into game 3. Did we learn anything? I don't think so, because it was a whimperish performance in Cyprus and it was a 0-0 draw. Did we take any lessons from game 3 into game 4, which was Noah, which I was at? It was a dreadful game of football and I couldn't believe what I was watching at times, particularly the second half. Were any lessons learned? Did we grow? I don't think so. We then go into game 5. Were any lessons learnt from the Noah game? Did we grow in the Strasbourg game? I think not. Then we hear the same narrative. Did we grow or learn any lessons when we go to Prague last night? Absolutely not. We made the same schoolboy errors that we've made throughout this European campaign. If lessons are to be learned, you learn them from game to game, from game 1 to game 2, from game 2 to game 3, etc., 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 rinse and repeat. We learnt, I think the team learnt and were coached nothing. Nothing. Have we grown as a team throughout this European campaign? We have not, because we continue to make the same mistakes. Last night for 15 minutes, we did okay. Absolutely tip my hat. But then we fall off a cliff. 3 mistakes, 3 goals. Now, I'm just getting a little bit tired of the same narrative. If these players are to grow and to learn, surely, by Christ, they should have done it by now. Surely. I'm really disappointed. I've got to be honest. I know the calibre of team that we played against are far superior to us. By a country mile, they're better than us. I know that. I appreciate it. I understand it. but I'm not seeing growth. I'm not seeing improvements. And that's my issue. You may or may not disagree. If you disagree, come on, have your say. But please, as I always say, be respectful. It's just an opinion. That's all it is. It's nothing else. It's just an opinion. It's a humble opinion. Okay? Right, let me get you on. So, let's see how you're doing. Okay, right, guys, just bear with me while the chat loads. Okay, there we go. First of all, I'd just like to thank Gordon Keith Ritchie, who has become an Ali Beg ABTV member here on YouTube. Gordon, thank you so much for your support. That's absolutely fantastic. I'm very, very grateful to you. That's brilliant, mate. He says, we started well in the first 15 to 20 minutes. Then we gave away the first goal. I thought it would be a cricket score. We have to concentrate now on the league. I completely agree. Just turn all our attentions to the league and to retaining the Scottish Cup. Cameron says, hello, Ali. Poor result last night against Sparta. We've had a decent run in the Europa League. Now on to Sunday's game at Parkhead. Paul Donaldson says, hi, Ali. Still over in Prague. Flying back tomorrow. The beer has been a lot better than the football on this trip. I have to say, I thought the fans were magnificent yesterday, as they have been throughout. Robert Fowler, ball control and distribution appalling, with Mitov the worst culprit. Bear with me, I've got some stats for you. The Galaglass says, well, we certainly went out with a whimper. I know we were up against some good teams, but to really in those games did we lay a finger on them. We could win on Sunday, but we could also get hammered. Who knows? That's my fear. This is what I just don't know what to expect now on Sunday. I really don't. We could absolutely come away with a fantastic result, and we could absolutely get smashed, because it just would be so typical of us. Kaiser says, thank the high heavens that's Europe over. A total disaster from start to finish, and we managed to cap it off with the most horrendous of shows. Kaiser came back to say no excuses about the level of opposition either. We just were nowhere near it. Second bottom says it all. Adam Binney says, I hope this result doesn't affect our league form, as I am now worried about the Celtic game. If you watch the Dundee United game, Celtic should have been at least 3-0 up by half-time. I did watch that game, and you're absolutely right, mate. Craig Moyer says, what a depressing 90 minutes that was. That's 3 Conference League away matches. We managed just 2 shots on target. Individual errors keep costing us big time. Badly need a centre-half and a midfielder. Alan Nichols says, why doesn't Yimi sit in the stands and let someone else give instructions to the players, standing on the sidelines looking lost? Ryan Ellington is here, wishing you a good evening. No words to say, but bye-bye Europe for just now. Let's focus on Celtic. Kaiser's also worried about Celtic and what could happen. Barry's here. How are we doing, Barry? Evening, dandies. Not long home from Prague. Stadium was shocking and hardly saw the game and ended up leaving at half-time. Oh, mate, what happened there? Gary Farquhar says, dead rubber of a European wise but eye-bleeding stuff. Yet again, Celtic game this weekend is far more important. Barry came back to say that he's heard that Leighton Clarkson is off to Preston. Elfie Dello says, good evening. That was the worst European campaign I've ever seen. Back to league business at a ground we haven't won since 2018. Not very hopeful for Sunday, he says. John Grant says, well, that was disappointing. We made some amount of mistakes defensively, really poor. We looked pretty toothless in attack too. We are better than that, and we should have put in a performance. Stuart Cleary suggests it was gutless. Deck is here. He says, good evening, Ali. Shocking performance last night. I get we are doing okay in the league, but in Europe, we can forget it. VK is suggesting Yemi Talene is just not a good manager. When will it sink in? Neil Messiah, he's wishing you a good evening. Scott Bowie says, come on, Ali, how many good performances have we had this season? Yet results in the league have been better, but have the performances got any better? We are blundering our way through this season. Scott, I've got to be honest, mate, I'm not going to disagree with you, fella. James Chappie says, sorry, Ali, we have no chance on that happening. That team played a Celtic-type game, and if we can't pass and move and get right into them, it's another hard afternoon. It's our mistakes that's costing us. Neil says, it's the same every week. Barry's asking a very simple question to you. Do we get rid of JT? John Kylo says, Ali, I've told you before, his press conferences are a waste of time. He says nothing regardless of the result. It's as if he doesn't want to be there, never criticises, never gives insight. James Brown says, I like JT, but I think he's out his depth. Kaiser says, I think getting 7 points from that European fixture was more than possible. Right, so I'm gonna show you something. I want to show you. So I'm not sure if you saw this that I did after what game was it now? The Kilmarnock game. Came up with some player stats. So I've done the same for last night. It's not great. Brace yourself. Okay, so Adil Ashish was the most fouled player during the game. Dimitar Mitov had an accurate pass rate of only 34%. Kevin Nisbet did not touch the ball in their 18-yard box once. Not once. Graham Shinney had an accurate pass rate of 93%. Dante Palvara had a Jules 1 rate of only 30%. He only won 3 from 10 tackles. You can make of that what you wish. Before we get back to your comments, let me just gently remind you that Ali Beg AB TV is also brought to you by Craig International, a global procurement company who service the world. They have 10 offices strategically placed all over, from America to Canada. Their home office is in Aberdeen, as you would expect. They're also on the European continent in Hamburg, just up the road here in Germany. They also serve the Middle East in Qatar, in Dubai and Oman. They're also down in Singapore, serving Southeast Asia. And they're also down in the Southern Hemisphere in Australia, where business continues to do really well. So, if procurement is your thing, please get in touch and I'll put you in touch with them. So, as we mentioned, next game for us, Celtic at Celtic Park. Kickoff is at 3 o'clock on Sunday, a stadium where we've not won since 2018. But they are absolutely all over the shop at the moment. What an opportunity. I will do a preview show tomorrow night ahead of that. I'm hoping to get Andrew Budge on to have a wee chat about it. But for me, it's very simple. It's very, very simple. We have to go at Celtic tomorrow, on Sunday, I beg your pardon, and we have to go right at their jugular. That's what we have to do. And if we can do that, and if we can score first, their crowd will go nuts. And what that will do is that and start making wrong decisions. Celtic are absolutely there for the taking. Ask, please set us up. Right, guys, I'm sorry if you're sort of dipping in and out. There's a slight issue with the internet here. So I'll just keep going. Hopefully, everything is good. Mad Mark says, I thought we were poor yesterday again. I'm not looking forward to Sunday. Alan Suter says, do you think Yimi listens to Peter leaving? Seems like he's on the periphery and Yimi doesn't take many suggestions in during the games and Peter will be off to Killie or elsewhere soon. Well, he did say that there's been no official approach and that's that. Aberdeen FC said that I wouldn't care if leaving went. The players seem to get worse and worse and here with Robson and Warnock we can do better than Peter. Mad Mark says, nearly midway through the season and we're still failing to do the basics well. I agree. Neil was asking, what team we're going to get on Sunday? David Horn's here. He's wishing you a good evening. Kaiser came back to say, we've been scraping wins in the league. The performances have been poor to say the least. John Kylo says, for those wanting rid of Tallinn, his win percentage is currently 43%, which is pretty good. Mad Mark says, Dimi Mitov's distribution has become shockingly bad recently. VK is suggesting that half of our wins are undeserved. Gary Farquhar says, now we know Carlson is a quality player, but why does he never do the simple things? Always try flicks, take forever to cross the ball. I actually think we play better without him. So I'll have a wee say about that. I got a little bit frustrated with Jesper yesterday. There was I just showed you that stat where Kevin Nisbet didn't touch the ball in the box. I don't think that's his fault. Because he's not getting the service. We are not getting balls into the box. We're not providing any service whatsoever. If my memory serves me correct, I think there were at least 2 occasions last night where Jesper could easily have put the ball into the box, but decided to come inside. Or to cut back and play the ball backwards. Just put it in. Just put it into the mix. This is what I don't understand about the modern day football player. Just put it in the mix and see what happens. I don't understand coming inside, coming outside, going past your opponent once, going past your opponent twice, turning inside out and then passing the ball backwards. Just put the bloody thing in the box and let the strikers do what strikers do best. Just get it in there. Scott Bowie says, you do know JT is just going to go down and park the bus and try and hit us on the break. When have we ever gone at a team this season? Probably once. Dundee at home. We're too passive. Yeah, Scott, it's what I'm worried about. I just think we're so passive. We're just not aggressive enough. Craig Moore is suggesting that Jesper Karlsson's attitude stunk last night. Mad Mark says an international class striker should be getting more than 3 goals in half a season. Oh, Barry, I'm really sorry to hear that, mate. That you didn't feel very safe in the stadium last night. Really sorry, mate. David Gall says, we're nowhere near good enough for European competition. John Kylo is suggesting there's no way we're winning on Sunday. In Like Flynn says, I get the feeling Celtic will destroy us on Sunday. We're all over the place. It's such a shame that we all think that, eh? Randomly says, I'm sick of Carlson's stepovers. Adam Binney says, Sunday will be a very significant day for the Scottish Premier League, with Hearts playing Rangers and us away to Celtic. Yep. Kirsten says, we're missing Shady as well for beating a man and getting the ball in the box. We've not had a player do that since we lost Shady. We're just not getting the ball into the box. It's driving me absolutely mad. Put the damn thing in there. Right, just before we finish off, it wouldn't be right of me To also remind you that Quipco International sponsor is here on the channel. They service the oil and gas industry. Based in Abu Dhabi, they offer a number of services, including manufacture and repair. What I've listed there is just the tip of the iceberg. If you go to quipco.com, you will see on their website everything that they do. So if you are in that region and you're looking for any type of manufacturing or repair services, nobody does it better than Quipco. Right, guys, so we're just coming up to half an hour, so I'm going to call it a night. I don't mean to be too downtrodden about the team, because I do think that we're kind of making our way back up the league. You know, considering where we were a few weeks ago to considering where we are now, there's a huge difference. It's still 7 league games unbeaten. So we have to take the positives from that. But I don't know. The European campaign for me is, I don't want to say it's a disaster, because I don't like using the word disaster, but it's got that feel to it. And it's really showed us how much work still has to be done to compete at the very highest level, which is where we want to be competing season in, season out. But we're miles off it. And I think there has to be, I think that realisation has to sink in. And the only way that we can improve on that is the team have got to play better, they've got to be better coached, we've got to stop individual errors, and we've got to be more aggressive in games. We're just not aggressive enough in games at the moment, I don't think, anyway. So, sorry for being a wee bit downtrodden. Just, it's a frustration. It's built from frustration, and it's built from love. Guys, have a lovely evening. I will see you all again tomorrow for the preview show ahead of the game against Celtic at Parkhead. Take good care of yourselves. Stand free.